Hello, my name's Chanda and I'm a registered dietitian. In today's session, we're going to talk about healthy eating for the Indian community for people wanting to lose weight. If we start at looking at what is classified as overweight, the BMI is a measure that uses your height and your weight to work out if your weight is healthy. The BMI calculation divides an adult's weight in kilograms by their height in meters squared. Evidence suggests that people from South Asian communities, that includes people from India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, are at an equivalent risk of diabetes and other health conditions at a lower body mass index compared to that of the white population. So a BMI less than 18.5 in Asian populations is considered as underweight. A BMI of between 18.5 and 23 is considered as increasing but acceptable risk, so can be thought of as being within a healthy weight range. A BMI of between 23 and 27.5 is described as an increased risk, so can be thought of as a BMI describing somebody who is overweight. And a BMI of 27.5 or higher is described as a high risk, so can be thought of as a BMI that would describe somebody who is obese. Regardless of body mass index, you should try to lose weight if your waist circumference is 90 centimeters or more for South Asian men, or 80 centimeters or more for South Asian women. And this is because your risk of getting some health problems is affected by where your body fat is stored, as well as your weight. Carrying too much fat around your middle, so your waist, can make it more likely for you to develop certain conditions such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, some cancers, and potentially a stroke. The good news is there's lots that you can do to lose weight. Start by setting yourself realistic goals which are achievable, as these will boost your confidence and your ability to lose weight. Losing just 5 to 10% of your weight has massive health benefits. A weight loss of between 0.5 to 1 kilogram a week is a safe and realistic target. But do remember to make sure that your goals are measurable so you know when you've achieved them. And it's not just about the weight on the scales. Losing inches from your waist helps you to lower your risk of developing certain conditions, such as type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. Also, remember to include goals that are not just weight orientated, something else you'd like to achieve, such as being more active with your children or taking the stairs without getting out of breath at work. And don't forget to include regular physical activity. Doing more activity not only helps you to burn extra calories, but it can also help boost your mood and improve your long-term success. And it's always important to remember, small changes make a big difference in the long run. The traditional South Asian diet, which includes the Indian Gujarati diet, can actually be very healthy. There's so many healthy traditional ingredients, such as an array of spices, including ginger, garlic, and the beans, the lentils, the pulses, rice, wholemeal flour, chana flour, millet flour, including bajra, and lots of delicious vegetables such as bhinda, karela, aubergine, and our fruits, such as papai, mango. So it is really possible to eat a really healthy diet. The problem is, perhaps we eat too much, so have a larger portion size, or we need to be more careful with the way that we're cooking these foods. Food plays a massive part in our communities and our daily lives, but it is really important to make sure we cut down on our portion sizes, our fats, and our sugars to help us to lose weight successfully and stay healthy for longer. Some key tips to developing your healthy eating plan. Eat 3 regular balanced meals a day. Start the day with a healthy breakfast, because people who eat breakfast find it easier to control their weight and are generally slimmer than those who don't. Focus on your portion sizes, and it can be useful to think about using a tea plate model here. Half of the plate can be filled with vegetables and salad, a quarter of the plate with protein, and a quarter of the plate with starchy foods, such as chapati or rice. Choose foods and drinks that are low in fat and sugar, and it's important to limit the intake of sweet, fatty, and salty snacks. Some ideas how you can do this include, if you use ghee or butter, swap this to using an unsaturated fat, so oils such as rapeseed oil or olive oil, or a margarine with a higher content of monounsaturated fat. But do try to use less of all types of fat to keep the calories as low as possible. If you tend to pour the oil straight from a bottle, start to measure this and gradually get to using 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil for a dish that serves about 4 to 6 people. And if you are worried that this might cause your vuggar to burn, so your onions and spices, you can either reduce the heat of the pot, or you could even try adding some warm water or a little bit of lemon juice to prevent the sticking. After cooking the curry, if you see that there's a layer of oil on top, you can reduce the oil by skimming it off with a spoon or using a kitchen towel to dab off the excess oil. Some of the ingredients that we use can often be high in fat, especially saturated fat. But again, there's simple things that we can change in terms of the type of fat that we're using. For example, you can swap fatty meats for the leanest type of meat you can find and avoid eating the skin, so take the skin off chicken. If you like eating paneer, it can be a bit tricky to find a low-fat alternative, but what you could do is try to use tofu instead. And if you do eat paneer, try to have it less often and use less of it. Swap cream coconut for a lighter coconut milk. If you're using cream, perhaps try a low-fat natural yogurt instead. If you're in the habit of spreading your rotlis with butter or ghee, either try to have them without the spread, or just spread one side, rub another rotli on it, and at least that way you're cutting the amount of fat by half. I'd still encourage though, try to have the rotlis without the fat. If you're going to use a fat, then try using a small amount of a monounsaturated margarine. If you're frying samosas or kachori or that type of thing, what I'd encourage you to do is brush or use a spray oil on both sides of, let's use the samosa for an example, and then cook it in the oven. And what you'll find is that it'll come out nice and brown and nice and crispy. But what is crucial is that they will be using a lot less fat than if you deep fried them. Avoid deep fried snacks such as chevra, gatia, crisps, chips. Instead of these sorts of things, try to have a portion of fruit or a low-fat and low-sugar yogurt. You might even find a handful of unsalted nuts might work better here. Sugary foods also tend to be high in fat and calories, so they're not very useful to have as part of a diet for someone who's trying to lose weight. Sugary foods are foods such as sugar, gore, full sugar fizzy drinks, sweeties, chocolate, burfi, gulab jambu, penda. So it's really, really important that we limit the intake of these foods. Choose them less often. When you do eat any of these pudding or Indian mistan, eat it less often. Some people think that by having a drink with glucose in it or a full sugar drink, that this is needed by the body for energy. But remember, it's just pure sugar and can make you gain weight. Instead, try to have a diluting sugar-free squash or water. Instead of using normal sugar, try to use an artificial sweetener. And if you are using gore in your cooking, there's no real reason that you need to use that. If you drink alcohol, be sensible, because alcohol is high in calories, therefore can lead to weight gain. Remember to try and have no more than 14 units over a week and have some days, at least 2 to 3, that are free from alcohol. Avoid eating at the same time as you're doing something else, because that means you're more likely to eat more than what you would normally eat. So for example, when you're working or reading or watching television, try not to eat at the same time, as this can cause you to overeat. The next point is about mindfulness. So eat slowly, concentrate, and really taste the food that you're putting in your mouth. Aim to drink 2 litres of fluid a day, choosing low-calorie and non-caffeinated drinks. In addition to this, it's important not to think that you're on a diet and not to go on any specific diets, because diets are often extreme, strict, and nutritionally unbalanced. And that can often lead to people not sticking to them for very long. With the process of digesting your meals, it's important to allow yourself 15 to 20 minutes for the food to digest, therefore giving your brain time to recognize that your stomach is full before deciding if you need more food. Exercise and healthy eating go hand in hand for people who are wanting to lose weight successfully. The UK guidelines recommend each week adults should do at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity. They should do strengthening activities on 2 days a week and essentially reduce extended periods of sitting. Now, there's numerous benefits to being physically active. It can reduce dementias by up to 30%, reduce hip fractures by up to 68%, reduce all-cause mortality by 30%, reduce cardiovascular disease by up to 35%, type 2 diabetes by up to 40%, colon cancers by 30%, breast cancer by 20%, and it can help reduce depression by up to 30%. So the reasons for engaging in physical activity are absolutely massive. You can slowly build up the activity that you do so it becomes a part of your daily routine. This means that you're going to be far more successful with maintaining this change in the long term. Look for easy ways where you can perhaps fit some movement into your daily routine. So could you perhaps park a little bit further from your destination? Could you take the stairs or get off a bus stop earlier? Being active is a necessary part of helping you to manage your weight. It doesn't need to be formal exercise like joining a gym or taking up a new sport. It could be as simple as walking your children to school, kicking a ball in the back garden, or doing some vigorous housework. All in all, physical activity is going to be a really useful component of all the tools that you can use to lose weight successfully. Managing your weight can help reduce conditions such as diabetes and heart disease. People who successfully lose weight and keep it off set realistic goals, develop healthy eating and physical activity plans, which help them make new habits an enjoyable way of life. Remember, it's really important to keep positive because you can do it. Thank you for watching this video. I wish you every success going forward in your weight loss journey.